What's going on, friends? Happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope none of you are sober and you're having a blast, but most likely you all are working and doing life. But yeah, excited to be here today. This has been one heck of a journey with Love Local that continues to evolve. But the goal, really, of what we're trying to do is to be able to create community and create belonging through content and through storytelling, and we do that along with how we feed our families. That's the heart of the company, but how we feed our families is by helping small businesses to medium-sized businesses build their brand through content, and we have multiple solutions for you. Everybody's unique in that way, but my friends, I am excited, maybe a little emotional to be here today. For one, we have one heck of a guest that we'll get to introduce you to, and it's Women's History Month, and you're going to absolutely love this woman as you get to know her. But I am sitting next to one badass woman that has really come in about a little over a year ago now, and really has, we're live, I'm getting emotional, has helped us transform Love Local. She has a voice, she has a heart, and I cannot wait to do Love Local Chicagoland podcast with her. What's up, dude? How are you? We can't even cut that or anything. I got caught. But I'll own it. But I'm super excited to talk with you. I get to hear your voice and what's in your heart and what's in your mind when we talk about a lot of the things that we're going to talk about. Knowing what's in there for the world to see excites me.
Jason, I knew from the very beginning, it's funny because, we met a couple of times prior to actually starting to work together. And so I feel like there was a lot of serendipity there. But I knew once we connected here in Love Local and I heard your vision and I could just see what was in your heart, I knew this is exactly where I wanted to be. So It's because of you, my friend, and I am honored to have this spot next to you.
It started off with my vision. Now it's our vision. I think over this last year, this business has changed and it's evolved, and it's going after the same things, but the things that are coming about and the ideas that are being sparked, it's very much it's a we thing, it's a team thing.
It's fun.
People behind the scenes, people don't see Adam, Cole. Huge pieces.
They will see them.
They will see them.
Yes.
So Adam will be making content before you know it.
That's right, Adam.
Right now he's making sure we work.
He's behind the scenes right now, but
yeah.
He's definitely here.
But Monica, let's talk a little bit today. I want to obviously bring in our guest, but we're gonna have a topic today, and we're gonna talk about something that's true to both of our hearts. Tell our guest what that is about.
So, our topic today is all about, we wanted a topic that was going to kick off Love Local Chicagoland. And in order to do that, we wanted to just kind of bring about that unity. So today's topic is all about envisioning unity in community. Because one of the things that I loved that you said, even way before I even got here, is that we are stronger together.
Yeah. It's true.
And so
still is true.
Still is true. and so what better way to start this podcast than with that topic at the forefront? So we have a very special guest, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I've been saying the word badass a lot, so I'm just gonna keep. I think it makes it sound cool,
badass.
so I'm gonna keep saying
Major.
it. But she's a pretty awesome woman, and we've gotten to meet her as a friend, and I've gotten to know her. And just who she is, her values, her morals, and how she does life. And I could honestly say that I've been inspired.
She's got great curls, too.
Yeah.
And I'm
definitely something that's important
and
to me.
her curls.
Hair and curls are definitely important to me. But Dr. Michelle Morkett, you are amazing, and we're so happy to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thanhanks for having me here in your first show.
Yeah.
This is exciting. Thank you.
I'm definitely nervous, but I'm glad you're here with us.
Yeah, me too.
For our audience, I didn't say it bringing it in, but Dr. Michelle Morkett is a women's and leadership coach, right? Mm-hmm. You say that, and she helps women live their best lives, and we'll dive into probably a little bit about her as we dive into this story. But we have something exciting that we're rolling out for a new segment.
I know, right?
Maybe it definitely is your idea, but it's a really cool idea.
It's collaborative.
Collaborative, but it's cool because you have this vision. So roll with it. What's this next segment?
Okay, so we're all Chicagoans here, right? We're all Chicagoans,
Hey.
and I say that right. we all have the accent, whether you want to admit it or not. We all have this accent, right? But there's other things that unify us, and one of those things is the local stopping grounds, our local, spots. I mean, and it doesn't matter whether you're in the city, you're in Elgin, you're in Schaumburg, Hoffman Estates. It doesn't matter where you are. We are all united in this identity as Chicago.
Whether we want to or not, we are stuck with each other.
That's right. And the city, listen, the city, it started, with that's where people settled mostly, but we're all branched out in the burbs now. But we're all still a part of it. We are all Chicagoans. So that being said, everybody's got their local favorites. So I want to hear what your local faves are. You can tell us anywhere that you love to go.
This says a lot about a person, too.
It
When you
does.
find out their
That's
favorite
nice.
place to go, you're like, oh, okay, go. Yeah,
Okay,
let's
thank
go.
you now.
Yeah.
I feel nervous. I needed to edit this a little bit more. But I'll tell you, just the first thing that came to my mind is Lamplighter, which is here in Palatine. It's a restaurant and bar.
Yes.
But not just Lamplighter. It's very specific. There's something that I love about Lamplighter, and that is in the bar area, the bartender, her name is Denise, and she's amazing. So it started out that my spouse and I would go to the Palatine Farmers Market, okay, and we get a chocolate croissant, and
Wonderful
we look for a little
farmers
place
market.
to like sit and eat it. And we're like, well, we could always go to Lamplighter and eat our chocolate croissants if you think they'd let us. So we walked in the first time. This was before COVID, and Denise was there, so nice, right? And she's like, yeah, come on in, I'll bring you a plate, I'll bring you napkins. And she's like, what do you want to drink? It was very fun. So then the next time we came, I think it might have been the next week because we felt so welcome, we came back and she's like, oh, and she brought over the plates and she brought over the same drinks. So
Fantastic.
yeah, so it kept going. We started talking and ended up, I'd bring her my canned tomatoes from my garden. She'd give me a recipe cut out from the newspaper. And then after COVID, when we first came back, it was so fun to see her. We got big hugs and she's like, this one's on me. I mean, it just really felt like home. And I was so glad that they opened back up after COVID because I didn't realize how much I'd missed it for our Saturday mornings.
That's awesome.
Early, like 7.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's not okay, but
I mean, nobody's judging here. Like, we're
how it
good.
happens.
Yeah, you work hard all week. You want to go out and relax.
Yeah.
I think that's, I love that story because you humanized it. I didn't know before COVID, totally naive. I didn't realize how much small businesses just made up our neighbors and the people who we do life with. So that is special because in each, whether it's Lamplighters, which is, I second that, is a great place to go to in downtown Palatine, or other places, it's the people that are in there that make them special, that make them unique, that make you go back. Yeah, it has good food or it has good drink, but the people are, and those people are like, they live down the street. I was so surprised by that as we went through it. I'm like, owner of Cook Fork and Fork lives here, owner of this place works here, Lazangara works here, like all in my neighborhood. So it's we're doing life, might as well just hang out with them and support their business too. So I love that you went in that approach and that came to you right away. It's
my first thought.
We want to we're going to talk about community and envisioning unity and those types of things. For us, that's people see media company, but that's really what we're about. That's the heart of it. So Monica, talk a little bit about when this topic came about. What were some of your thoughts around this topic in general and why it's so important to talk about it with Dr. Michelle Morkett?
I think it really comes down to making sure everybody really feels the same way about that they belong, that they are important, that they matter to community, right? I mean,
drop the mic, not these, but drop the mic. Okay.
It does. It makes a difference because when you know that you are important to community, it's like, you know that there are resources for you. You know that there's that your neighbors miss you, or that just that you're important. It makes a difference because then it's like the strength of the community is there. And I feel like too that Chicagoans, we're known for a lot of things, right? Our pizza, we're known for beefs.
Malort.
Malorts,
Yeah.
which I mean, we could bring it out, but I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's not happening.
Yeah, but you know, the idea that that we're all a part of this, and that you know we need a coach like you out here in our local community to help others feel empowered, you know, and that people are all very important.
I think it's so important, and we're going to learn about you in a second. But to build you up, I getting to know you, I've learned a lot, and I consider myself a very introverted person, and I sit on things for a lot of perspectives, and I think about our world right now, and I think about our community, and starting with the world, like we're a hot mess. Like as a whole, and there's all these different sides of, I'm just going to say it, like propaganda that is guiding both left and right and making us divisive, when at the core of it, like we're local community members that have so much in common.
Yes.
Like
So
let's
much
do this life together, let's help each other thrive, and
Yeah.
let's move on. So I'm excited to dig into this.
Yeah.
And I'll take like the honor, like Michelle Morkett, tell us a little bit about you, what you like, who you are, what you do, why you're here, whatever you want to share with us.
Whatever I want to share. Well, thanks for having me, really.
And we could go to Lamplighters again if you
I'm
want
happy
to.
to
sure,
just like move
yeah.
this real quick down the street.
Yeah.
So about me, well, as you said, I'm a women's leadership coach and strategist, and I say strategist in there very specifically because, I mean, it takes a lot of strategy to figure out how to make decisions, you know, for yourself, especially if maybe you feel like you don't have a lot of power or you're afraid to speak up. So there's a lot of strategy involved with it too.
Sure.
And so I also have a Ph.D. in women's and gender studies. I love what I do. I just have to say that. I was this morning, my gosh, what day is it? I had a call at 7 a.m. this morning with one of my clients, and I was telling my spouse, I'm like, all right, got to go change the world one conversation at a time. I'm like, am I really that dramatic and emotional about this? But I just really love what I do.
It's
It
beautiful.
shows. It
Yeah.
shows.
It's so beautiful. I mean, and if everybody had that confidence to be able to just say like, "Hey, I am changing the world. I'm here for a purpose." To own that and claim that. I mean, Chicagoans, we are strong. We should all be able to do that. And sometimes it takes coaching to get there.
Oh, it takes a team.
Yeah.
We all need a team. We all need a village.
support.
Because it's about belonging.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And it's not me
Yes.
that's changing
Yes.
the world. It's my clients that are changing the world, right?
Yeah.
It's like this ripple effect. And that's what I love.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Belonging, like there's so much that goes into that, but you got to feel right with inside, like overall, like I've struggled with mental health and in my own head and all those things that happens to both men and women, just how we're built as humans. And I've seen both sides, and it's better to be together. And what I love about you is it's like the first 5 minutes we started talking, like you went vulnerable, I went vulnerable, we just went like real, like life's hard and we could do this, and we went into like together we could support each other. And there's a few conversations that I've had that was last year that I felt like inspired me to continue to strive to be able to build something with other people to create an impact. But it's because of people like you. Like there was two people, you and Pam Moore, that were like, oh my goodness, like this woman is on to something, and she's doing it in such a right and authentic and real way. I found a lot of I remember, like, I can't wait to get to know her more, and now we're sitting here, which is pretty cool.
You know, I remember that conversation. I remember him coming back after your conversation, because he's right here at Bellworks in Fairgrounds, right?
Yeah.
And he came back to the office going like, okay, whoa. That was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, that conversation was really amazing. He's like, you know, you need to meet her. Like, holy cow.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's almost like everybody should meet Dr. Michelle. Everybody should meet her.
Yeah.
And you are accessible. We'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
What's some of, like, your background? Like, what led you to here?
Oh my gosh, right. You know, the other day I was talking with somebody who quoted August Wilson's Fences, and at the very end of one of the scenes, one of the characters says, you have to take the crookeds with the straights. I've been like really thinking about that when someone asks me my story, because I used to really compartmentalize it. And it's like, oh, do I have enough successes? And I just talk about those, right? Those mountaintop experiences. But life is the crookeds and the straights. It's the ups and the downs. And unless we can really think about how it felt when we were struggling, we're not going to remember that we can do it.
Totally.
So
in the
true.
future, right?
Yes.
We forget how strong we are. We have to build our own mountain of evidence. So I'm doing it myself. I'm building my own mountain of evidence. Every time somebody asks me my story, it's like, all right, that's right.
Yeah.
That happened. That helped me, you know? And so I call them trailblazers, badasses, you know, all the things. And
Trailblazers is like the PG version. I was taking it to like R.
yeah,
You know,
we'll
it's
go
kind
with
of how I
that.
roll.
We'll go
Yeah.
with the badass. But I would say
I like Trailblazer a lot.
I
Yeah.
like to think like, oh, I'm a trailblazer. Yeah, I'm a reluctant trailblazer. I think I have been, you know, my whole life, just learning and overcoming my own things, you know. So I was raised, you know, in a rural community here in Illinois, not far from where we are now. And I wasn't raised by anybody who does the things that I do. My mom didn't finish high school. She got her GED. My father did finish high school, and that's it. And then he died suddenly when I was young, and so I was raised by a single mom. So life, you know, was not what I'm doing now. My life now is really different from how I was raised, but it's not despite that or anything. It's because I honed some things growing up that I started to just question at a young age, right? Like being raised by a single mom, I was raised in a community where there were very rigid gender roles, just these two boxes, that's it. And there were like some moral imperatives involved in it too, right? Like you were wrong if you didn't do it this particular way, right? But I looked around, I'm like, hey, so there's just two of us in this house. If we didn't do all the things, at least half the things wouldn't get done. So if I'm seeing my mom do these things, or I'm doing these things, does that mean that it's only true for us, or does it mean that it's true for everybody? So I just started questioning.
That's so wise.
Like,
you know,
early.
Right, early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's my superpower actually now when I think about it. I used to not want to talk about that part of my life because it didn't seem to match.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if only I could have been raised by like some superstar, like amazing, you know, activist or something, that would make more sense. I'm like, no, this is my path, so it makes all the sense in the world.
I think that's so beautiful. Like you took struggle's not the right word. You saw something that was not just didn't make sense to you in the community. But you and your mom were making things happen. You were pushing through life. Where some of that stuff would be like, oh, let's go old school. Like men cut the grass, men do this, women do this, women do this. Like it's about doing life and supporting each other in those efforts. So I love it that you took something that you saw as an opportunity and you just leaned into it. And you really became an expert at understanding the psychology around it. So you were, I may have mentioned it already, but you were a professor as well for quite some time. Can you share with our audience a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I actually, before that, I was a high school English teacher.
Okay.
I don't know if we've ever even talked about that.
I don't think
you
so.
You were a teacher.
I was.
She was a
I did
teacher,
high
too.
school English too. Did you? I did all the subjects, but I.
That's why she's so good at dealing with me. She had to deal with high schoolers. She was like, same mental capacity here. Right.
I think there are a few people that might watch this that might have some laughing to do. Okay,
Yeah.
but definitely English is such a beautiful vehicle for learning about yourself, learning about getting a shift in perspective, all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I can even see then, though, that I was interested in gender and the missing voices. But I didn't want to do that initially. Actually, I wanted to go to this college.
What year was this? Let's paint some context. Like, world's changed a lot.
Are you
right?
really
But-
asking me how old I am?
No, I'm not- definitely
on
not
this
asking you
live
how old I am.
podcast right
Definitely
now
not,
when I can't
because-
say cut and do the math in my head to lie.
Just so we're clear.
I'm not gonna lie.
Just so we're clear.
Okay.
It's definitely live. It's not intended that way. It's more of our world has changed
80s.
a lot.
80s.
80s.
Yeah, it was in the
Hey,
80s.
I'm with you.
I
Nothing
know,
wrong
we're
with
like
80s
the
kids.
same age.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
30. We're good.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
Don't do the math, people. Yeah.
So I wanted to go to this small school in Washington State. I wanted to either be an attorney or I wanted to get into politics.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to a college that was close-ish to home and became a high school English teacher. Now, having said that, I love teaching. I really do. So I wasn't suffering. I wasn't resentful, but I just kind of look back on it now and think, oh, there was a goal that I had or a dream that I had that I just couldn't do. Like it wasn't allowed for me to go that far away. This was more traditional. You become a teacher, women become teachers, and they have the summers off. They have children. You know, it's all of that, right? But even then, when I was teaching high school English, it's all about the canon. And I'm like, wait, whoa. Who are we reading here? Who are the classics? And whose voices are missing? Because so many voices were missing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, you're so right.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
So I then went on to get my master's degree, and I still thought I was going to keep teaching. But then I was doing gender like all the time in every class that I was taking. And I had some mentors who, you know, said, have you thought about getting a Ph.D. in women's and gender studies? I'm like, first of all, I'm a first generation student, you know, I mean, it's a big deal for me to get a bachelor's degree. And then I was getting a master's degree, and I dropped out for a little while because I had my second child at that time. And I was like, I have to go back. I don't want to be one of those people who doesn't finish. And I finished, and then I had this, and I went to Guatemala for part of my field work.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter was not that old at the time, and
gosh.
I thought, oh my gosh, I'm the worst mother in the world. What am I doing?
How long was that in Guatemala?
So I went 2 different times for only like, it was maybe like 10 days or a week or something, and I was interviewing people with some translators. You know, so I was like, oh, bad mom.
No. Oh my gosh.
Now I think trailblazer fighting
Empowered mom.
for my dreams.
Yeah, absolutely.
As they were unfolding, you know,
Yes.
and at the same time I was working at a domestic violence shelter. So it was like the theory had skin on it, and I saw it all the time, right? So it was really a transformational period. But had I not had professors in my master's program who encouraged me, I never would have continued on. I didn't know women's and gender studies was a thing. No idea. And a PhD, are you kidding me? How does one even do that? You know, so I did the reluctant trailblazer move, almost self-sabotaged, and I applied to one school. It was the only one I wanted to go to.
Wow.
And it was in Massachusetts. This is never going to happen. And then one day I got a letter in the mail. You're accepted. I got a phone call.
Gosh.
And it was a full ride.
Get out of here.
that's
Wow,
fantastic.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I guess it's just like, what a story.
Yeah. And then the other part of the story, I'll just say this quickly, was my husband was teaching. So I called his school, talked to the school secretary. I'm like, could you can you contact him on the intercom? Because we need to talk, you know. And I'm like, you're never going to guess what happened. And the first words he said were, so we're moving to Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
So had
That's
that not
so
happened,
beautiful.
who knows if I would have even done it, you know, if I
Wow.
hadn't had that support.
yes.
I love how you followed your passion and your gut, like from an early age. Like you just rode that, like which is not easy to do. Like you talk about trailblazers, I think all of us have some type of gift in
We
us.
do.
Every one of us does. And people that say they don't, I'm like, just go find it.
Yeah.
But each one of us has a gift, or we see something to be able to bring into this world. So I love the Guatemala story, the English teacher, like learning all those things. I think, didn't you say, is it FBI, or you said something with police? Didn't you? Not police. What did you say? Something else you did.
I did not work for
She
the
worked
police.
with the domestic.
Oh, domestic violence.
Violence is why I
Yeah,
triggered
yes,
to that. So domestic violence.
Yeah, I was like, what was it? Yeah.
This perspective,
No, you're
this
right.
the views you've had around something that was a natural thing for you, has turned you into a doctor, which is pretty awesome. We had a great discussion, and I was saying more of discussion, but more you just talking at Village Networking this last week. Something that you spoke to me about, spoke to the whole audience about, was just about like we all have a seat at the table, and I frame this, and I hear your story, and I just love it because you saw something from the very beginning, and then you went and learned and mastered it. But have friends, I have people that are really close to me that, you know, they'll hear like, oh, women at the table, like they want to take over, or if it's a person of a different color, they want to take over. And I really enjoy having those conversations because I could understand how through different metrics in the past that they could feel that way or see that way. So there's a lot of love and grace. But what you said with it was like we all have a seat at the table and we're better together when we support each other and we have each other's backs. And it's about men at the table. It's about women at the table. It's about people of all different ethnicities and backgrounds because together we are better. And that was your message. I'm like, oh yeah, I thought I liked her like before. Now I really like her because that's completely what our vibe is. But like what people that are going through those types of things, it's about us being together. It's about unity. We know that. And we have a lot to learn in society, but people that maybe need to like are on the fence or that are struggling with something like that, what advice would you, what would you give them? What should I go back to my friends of something to sit on?
Yeah, I get that a lot. Like, well, why do we need Women's History Month? Just like any of the other months, you know,
Right.
or International Women's Day, you know, was earlier this month too. And people are like, they gave us just one day. We need more than one day. Yes, of course we do. But it's just an opportunity right now for us to take a little pause and reflect on things we don't normally reflect on. But it's not to separate. It's really not. It's to actually unify. I believe, I know this seems kind of radical, but that gender is one of the most unifying things that we can talk about because everyone is gendered.
Yes.
Every single person. And I think of it this way, that when we're born, there's that box that's checked on our birth certificate. That box, whatever boxes it is, whatever state you're in, whatever options you have, oftentimes, though, that box is the box that we're operating in or, like, is kind of...
Expected to operate in?
Yeah, and it kind of forms, right, a lot of who we are and what we think is possible, what we think we can't do. And we're all dealing with that.
Totally. Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah.
Now, I work with women and I see trends because I've seen them when I lived in Croatia and, you know, I've done some things with the State Department and I've researched some global things, right? And I see it happening around the world. So to me, it's a human issue, right? Because it's something that's happening to another human.
Yeah.
And if we're seeing a trend and something is happening pretty consistently, then that means maybe we should take a look at it. It's not about putting somebody above anybody
Right.
at all. It's about like us being our full
space
selves.
for everybody, making space and holding that seat for someone, making sure that everybody is involved and included and everything.
And it could be in different ways, but involved. You know, I think about like, I would look in our partnerships, like we bring different skill sets. Like I look at me and my wife's, you know, partnership and how we work with each other, and it's we balance each other out. And I look at it, and I don't know if this is true. I'm not, no means do I have the depth of knowledge you do, but men and women have different strengths and they see different things and they have different perspectives. To me, that's like, let's figure that out, because if we could figure that out and work together, we talk about our communities thriving. Like, let's work together. Let's support each other. It's each of us, I don't care if you're men or women or whatever, we all have strengths. Let's focus in on those strengths, not necessarily gender, and let's trailblaze. Let's make our communities a better place, because we've just learned, and we're continuing to learn, that we're kind of a hot mess overall. We have some work to do, and we talked about healing, not to get on, but a lot of healing to do in the community, but together we could do that.
Yeah, so there's two things that you just said that I want to just, you know, talk about quickly. So one is, we all have skills. We all have talents. We all have passions. We all have goals and desires. That's how I enter the picture, because I want to know what yours are, and I want to help you partner. I want to partner with you to help you achieve those, because if someone says because of your gender you can't do this, I think the whole world suffers, because you're not showing up as your full, vibrant self.
We're missing it.
We're missing it.
We're missing an
We're not allowing
important
people.
piece.
I totally talked over you. We're not allowing people to own their gifts and to flourish their best selves, which is technically suppressing us as a society, right? Sorry to interrupt you, but totally.
Exactly. So we all miss out because then there's not the innovation, there's not the creativity,
Right.
there's not the multiple perspectives, right, that somebody can bring in and say, have you thought about it this way?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that's how we become better,
That's
right?
it.
And then the second piece is that I think that, I want to be seen as a women's leadership coach strategist, not just a leadership coach and strategist, because I want people to understand that I see and am open to seeing your lived experience. That I understand that you have maybe experienced something or some kind of discrimination or bias one way or another, or that if you want to help, right, kind of disrupt some of this, that I would like to work with you on that. I think it matters still. We're not in any kind of a post anything society, right?
Right.
Because, and I also want to be seen as my full person, because as someone who identifies as a female, I've had certain conditioning over my life, over the course of my lifetime, and I still have it, right? And so that informs my choices. That informs my lived experience, just like all of
For
ours
sure.
does.
Yes. Because everybody who, as they show up to the table, they are bringing with them all of the experiences, which we can see that people, that can be intimidating for someone to invite someone with an experience. Let's just say someone who has experienced poverty, right? To bring a person like that, because there might be that fear of, what could possibly, they might have something that won't apply to me or will cause a shift in what I already believe. And instead of doing that, instead of keeping someone who's different away, someone who has a different lived experience than you, away from those decision-making opportunities, bringing them in to learn what they have experienced, so that those decisions can be informed in a different way.
It's so important.
Right.
I feel like my parents gave me some of the biggest gifts through this. I grew up money was not a thing. Poverty is not the thing, but I saw poverty all around me. We had a family that took care of us and that had our back and all that sort of stuff. But I remember being poor. And then my parents took this courageous jump to leave Northwest Indiana and the steel mills to move to Las Vegas. And when they moved to Las Vegas, they put me in like the wealthiest school. And I remember being so insecure at the time. I was wearing the knockoff shoes, those types of things. And what I learned as I've gone through life, and then as I've climbed, I've struggled, I've overcome stuff, is that you talk about the people at the table, and it's important for everybody to have a seat at the table because perspective matters. And for the perspective for me on those, that thing of seeing like both sides of the tracks, like I grew up in poverty, now I'm hanging out with venture capitalists. And people that are wealthy, and there are people that have so much more money than I do. And only thing I learned is there's some amazing people on both sides, and there's good and bad people on each of those sides. But it's the opportunity to get at the table when you have, when that door has been open to you, when you have done all those things. There's a perspective missing. It's a perspective that we can be better. Somebody that has gone through something can add some really valuable insight that could help the decision-making process improve, in my opinion.
Yes, 100%. And that's why I like to look, this is my academic part coming in, right, in my research, but I like to look at what's going on globally or nationally, and that helps me understand the individual, just like the individual experience helps me understand what's going on nationally. So I can just give you, this is just such a small, well, no, it's impactful, but it's one single example, and that is, can you guess how many black women serve in the U.S. Senate?
Oh, I'm afraid to ask. So I'm afraid
I want to know, but
like
I have
currently,
no clue.
right
I have
now.
no clue.
0.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And do you know how many it's been over the course of the entire history of the U.S. Senate?
Please don't say 0.
It's not 0.
Okay.
2?
2.
Oh,
Kara Mosley
geez.
Braun
Oh, right.
from Chicago.
Yes.
And then Vice President Harris.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what that tells me
My
is not just how many black women have served in the U.S. Senate, but I have to ask why. And this is what you're talking about exactly, Jason, of like the doors and the opportunities, right? And how long does it take generationally for things to change? And what do we have to do to help that change? And I think that it's important for me that we have a diverse representation making decisions for our country, which is very diverse.
Yeah.
You know
Agreed.
what? So, okay, something that you said there sparked a thought about my dad. He was a purchaser for United Airlines for a long time, and I remember he got an award. It was for minorities in business. It was a whole big thing that we went to, and I remember the woman, she was talking about why he got this award, and it was because, you know, it's not because he gives the business to people, you know, minority owned businesses, just purchases from them for United on behalf of United Airlines, but he invited all of them to the table. He specifically reached out to many people, and gave them that invitation, like said, come, bring your samples, give us a bid, come try. Now that doesn't mean that it doesn't, there's not a guarantee. Same thing like with electing an official. Doesn't mean that it's a guarantee, but it means more people are getting to that table, getting that opportunity to be heard, and over time that is going, it just makes it so that this is not, there's no shock value. There's not any like, oh, but that's never happened. It's like, no, come on. This is not new anymore. It's not new anymore. People have been on the ballot many times over and over again. Now it's time. Let's get, we need to start making
we
that
see
change.
what happened when we didn't do that. Let's try that. Because I mean, not to get this political, but it's about everybody having a seat at the table. We're, as America, we are diversified. Diversified is the wrong word, but you know where I'm going with there. We are. It's important for everybody to have that seat at the table so that we could truly help make our communities a better place. Like, what are we afraid of? Like, that's what I would have to what's come up to now is, what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? Because to me, I only see like winning and growing and learning. It will be hard.
Yes.
It will be super hard because we all have to learn and grow and change because it's just different. Like, and it's not to like, and it's a lot of it's propaganda, but, and I know I'm rambling here, but it's not about we talk about like, oh, you said that, and that whole woke stuff. That woke stuff is propaganded out. Don't even use that word anymore because it's not about woke. It's about like what's been real. Like, and we're just trying to bring attention to it so that we can help make our world a better place. Through this, like, we've learned a lot about each other, and it's hurt, and it's going to continue to hurt until we get into the room or we get into the center, or wherever we need to get to focus in on how we're going to move past it to make. Go back to making our communities a better place. We can't go anything federal. We have some power in that and who we vote for.
Local.
But local, and let's even go to local in our Chicagoland area. Like, let's work together. Like, we can't do nothing about that federal, but we could do stuff as neighbors and as friends and as business partners to collaborate to help make our communities better and bring people together, sorry.
Yeah, well,
Soapbox.
I'm remembering what you said when the three of us met, and you said something about, we were talking about gender and having conversations about gender, and you said something about like what to say, if you say the right thing or the wrong thing.
Yeah. Even now, right before this conversation, we were just talking about, I'm glad you brought that. It was what did I say? Indian style?
Yes.
And then how did you correct me?
Crisscross applesauce.
It's not, nothing's intentional.
No,
It was, I know, and I know you don't mean that, but it's also like, oh, I didn't think of that. And that is how I grew up. That's how I was sitting there in kindergarten and you said Indian style and you ran around and you did that sort of stuff.
Can I give some context?
If you need to, yeah.
So the reason why we were talking
I
about
thought she
that,
did that really well, yeah.
For why you would say that anyways is because we were talking about how my feet don't touch the ground
Oh.
And that's why. And so I said, well, maybe we should just sit on the ground. And that's when Jason said that. So that was the context there. But to make sure that we're, using the terminology that is respectful. And that's it. But we aren't going to always know. I've made mistakes. I remember, recently one of our good friends, we all know him and love him. And he stopped me in a conversation because I used the pronoun she for someone who prefers they, and my mind just, I don't know, I guess I was just thinking a little too fast or something. I don't know. I can be a flake ball sometimes. My point is that I said she and he said they, and he just did it that gently, like just they, and I was like, you're right, they. And so those things come up, but it's okay to make mistakes. That's one of the things you said that I thought, God, that is just a beautiful thing. It's okay to make mistakes.
There's other things that I've had to learn from and grow from because I didn't see it. It just wasn't. If you're not aware, then you don't know. You said something that was like, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to that, but like, long term, it's not okay to continue to think that way and to continue that way. Like learn and grow. Like go inside yourself. Like maybe I don't need to say that. Maybe I can say it differently. Like I don't want to offend anybody. Like for the people that maybe are fighting up against that. Because to me, it's not like we're all in this world together. We're on a ball that is like 80 to like we are here. It's 4 billion years old, and we've been here for like 80 to 100 of it if we're lucky. Like let's just love on each other and support each other and help make this ball a better place to do life because it sucks when it's not fun or if it's not.
And that's why my dissertation advisor used to say you don't know what you don't know until you know better, and then it's like then what? Then it gets hard. Right. It's not hard to be corrected, to get informed. Yes, that feels uncomfortable.
For sure.
But if we walk around afraid to make a mistake, then we're not going to connect and we're not going to engage. And I think about what it means to be an ally, for example. And I was reading a post the other day on LinkedIn from one of my friends who's in my coaching cohort. And she said, ally is a behavior, not necessarily an identity.
Ooh.
And I really liked that. And I sat with that. And she does a lot of work on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And it is the action. And the action has to have some kind of thought. And that can be really scary, right?
Sure.
Or it can be scary to make the change and then be that in public.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
To be who you are, the changing, messy version of who
hurts.
you are in public.
It hurts inside.
Well, and it
at
takes
times.
courage. It takes
100%.
courage. For sure.
Yes.
It hurts because it's self-reflective and you're like, shit.
But
and you feel bad.
Yeah.
But if you walk around still feeling bad, right, and don't think, okay, now I felt bad, and I've learned this, and this is a new muscle. This is something I want to learn. I'm going to keep making mistakes. If we can't get there, then we're going to do what I think a lot of very well-meaning people do, which is we stay quiet because it's the do no harm. We
can't stay quiet anymore. We now know so much more than we did 20 years ago because information is a commodity. Like we have kids. We have we need to help make the communities a better place through all of these actions because it's like I don't want my kids living in some like not like that society. No way. No way. It makes me sad even thinking that could be an option.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's not okay. Like let's figure this out. Let's get to the table. Let's figure it out and let's move forward together.
Be better for each other.
Yes.
Yeah. Banning conversations doesn't help that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and all of this kind of makes me think about you and your mission. So, what would you say your mission is on your coaching journey?
Yeah. So my
Getting
mission,
deep on your first podcast.
Right,
I like you,
I'm just
Lorraco.
gonna say it. Here we go. Here we go. And I'll break your first podcast episode. I won't do this again. Really, I want to help women get into the rooms that they want to be in and stay there. That's where the strategy also comes in, right? To stay there in healthy ways and expansive ways until they're
earning
ready.
it. Let's be clear. I know you by 100% earning their part.
Because this is the other thing that comes up with that conversation is if we diversify, we're gonna, be less impactful. That we're gonna dilute the knowledge base or something. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That is not correct. That is not correct, because we could say that by excluding qualified people who have different lived experiences than you, we're doing the same thing, and we have been the whole time.
Yes.
So I get really heated about that, and I agree. It's not about counting numbers. It's about
Right.
qualifications and saying whose voices have not been present and why, and what do we
Yes.
need to do to make that change so that the people,
Yes.
the women that I work with who want to up level, do. You know, one of my clients, maybe she's listening, the other day said something like, I'm empowered. I just need people to get out of my way.
Yeah.
Because for her, it wasn't a matter of like, she doesn't feel empowered. She feels quite empowered.
Yeah.
We're talking about the word empowerment too, and how it has its negative connotations for people watching who are like, I hate that word. I get it. But the idea was she doesn't lack confidence. There's barriers
Yeah.
that are real.
Yeah.
100%.
So we have to strategize about that because they're not going away. So it's a both and. I work with my clients to help them up level in the ways they want to up level. And then we have to be thinking, once you're in there, how do you help change the systems to make them more equitable too, so that everybody can have a voice?
Right.
So it's a both and.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I help my clients get into the room, help them stay there till they're ready to up level to the next one.
Okay, so let's big dream for a minute.
Ooh.
So Michelle,
Do we like big dreaming here at Love Local?
Yeah.
I
we
don't
do
know.
that every
Yeah.
occasionally. Yeah, right. So Dr. Michelle, big
Yeah.
dreaming. What would your vision for society be? What do you want? What do you want to see? Let's just say 5 years from now. What do you want to see in our Chicagoland area? We're just going to keep it local for the moment. But what do you want to see change, be different, and be better?
That's a good question.
It's a big one, isn't it?
That is such a big question. I would like to see us be able to have. This is going to be abstract, though, Monica.
Okay, bring it. It's okay.
We're all about abstract.
It's all
This
right.
is abstract.
We're good at painting pictures. Go.
I would like for us to have more of these difficult conversations. That's what I want. I'm so tired of people calling, each other like names and it be okay. Or when somebody, if you were to say something, I'm like, Monica, can we talk about that? No, you're trying to silence me and my freedom of speech, right? I get frustrated with that. And
Yeah.
I think it's because we don't have real conversations.
About why and what makes the conversation
Yeah.
the important thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't tell you numbers, like statistics of how many people I would love to see having these kinds of positions of power. But none of it is going to happen without the vitriol and the just, fighting like us and them. The thing that breaks down the us and them is humanizing us all to see that we all have goals, like I've talked about before. We all have skills. We all have things that we bring to the table, and to value one another. And the only way to understand that is to have these conversations instead of like gotcha moments. Like, see, I knew. Because I even told you, I'm like, people think all sorts of things about somebody like me who comes along with a women's leadership coach. Oh boy, or somebody else in doing something like that. There's so many stereotypes out there.
I'm going to be completely honest. I never even told you that. I 100% thought that in the beginning, and I was 100%
Did you?
wrong. And we met so briefly,
Pretty
but that
vulnerable.
was
Thank you.
it was real. Like it was real. And then when I met you, I'm like, holy shit, no, it's not that at all. It's she has something really powerful to say, and she's saying it in such a unifying way where it's not either way. It's together. It's like, how do we do this? And I don't know. I've loved this conversation. I look forward to the next conversations because I
For
feel like we could
sure.
do more with these things, with different topics, I should say. Monica, we have a segment that you have. So segments she's all about, guys.
It's all about local.
But it is local, so let's talk about this next segment that we're going to tie in
Yeah.
before we ask one last question to Dr. Michelle Morkett. This whole live thing is messing me up. All right, let's go.
It's all okay.
It's real.
So the question is local. Okay, we're thinking local here. And what kind of local plans are you doing this weekend, or any given weekend? Like where might people, where would you recommend? What do you have going on?
Okay, so this is actually a little bit funny, and I'm going to get it right because my spouse at home is watching and wondering if I'm going to mess it up. We go hiking. Well, I mean, the winter's been kind of some days.
we get it.
Yeah.
Not good
Yes.
for me because I have now a number. I'm not going to go out if it's below 20. I've just decided I'm not doing it. But
There's
we'll go
nothing
hiking.
wrong with that. That's called being smart.
Okay,
move
I
on.
set a boundary with the weather.
Right.
And so we go hiking. We go to all these different places. And when I was little, I used to hunt for frogs in my aunt and uncle's yard, wearing my aunt's high heels. I'd get in so much trouble
how
for messing up the high heels and bringing the frogs in the house.
Oh my gosh.
But I love going out hiking where we can go to ponds, and I look for frogs. And so we go to Spring Valley, which is in Schaumburg,
yes.
and they have this farm too, a heritage farm. And so we go to some of the events sometimes, and I love going there. It's not the most challenging hike at all. It's accessible for a lot of people. I
Yes.
see strollers. I see a lot of people being able to go there, which I also really like. And then they have this farm too, and so you can walk through, or not farm, a garden. Like a community
Yes,
garden.
yes.
And so you can go through there. And so we like to do that early in the morning, and then we'll go somewhere for coffee. Like
Saturdays, Sundays? What is
Either
this?
one.
Yeah.
Either one. It kind of depends. Sometimes both.
For this weekend, I vote for Sunday for you because it's 41 degrees over 28 degrees
you're
on
just looking
Saturday.
at the weather.
Just trying to help you
Oh,
out.
yeah, okay.
It's close
so
to that
now
20
we
mark.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we go early
Yeah.
too. And then we'll see all sorts of animals. I mean, it's really nice
Peaceful,
just to be
I would
out.
think.
You know
Yeah.
what? That is a favorite place for us too in our house.
Is it?
Because of the beautiful park that's there. It's Bison's
Yeah.
Bluff. If you haven't been there and you have kids, you need to go
Yeah.
this weekend. On what day was
Totally.
it? Sunday.
Sunday is
Sunday.
41 degrees
Yeah.
and sunshine.
Yes.
Says
Okay.
AccuWeather. So
Yeah,
you got a
there you go.
source. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, take them to that because that's beautiful. And then they also have. I'm sure you've seen it as you've gone there, but they have this like little. I don't know. It's like a little cutout in the woods, and they have a bunch of logs. And my kids go, and they. I know it's going to sound a little ridiculous, but they like pick up the logs and they build things. Like
Mm-hmm.
they'll make like little
Kids should do that. Doesn't
log
sound
structures.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's really
Yeah.
neat. It's very. It's
I love
it's
it.
beautiful for the whole community. So
Yeah.
Spring Valley, what a great.
Yeah.
Great place.
They have events. We went to a rhubarb festival one
Oh,
time. They do
wow.
maple syruping.
That's what
all
I
of it.
want to do. Yeah, I heard
Should
about
be
that. Have you
coming
heard about
up.
that one?
That
I
should
have
be
Is it
not,
coming
no.
up?
Well, it has to like
I'm
this
ready,
time of
though.
year,
Is
right?
it? Is that
April
yeah,
usually?
Is it April?
Mhm.
We'll have to look at that.
Mhm.
Ooh. Okay, so the note to self, yeah.
Yeah.
Maple syrup, Spring Valley.
Love it there.
Gotta
go.
go. Gotta go.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
coffee afterward.
Yeah, and then coffee.
Mhm.
Yeah, or hot chocolate if you're with kids.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I love it. It's about supporting local, and we do life local. I think when we talked
Yeah.
about a business, we want to showcase our local communities. Like
Yeah.
that's where this is where we do life at, guys. Why are we trying to make?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just have fun, go do things, learn from each other, and cool things to see. So I love
Yes.
that segment. I want to ask a call to action to you in a second
Yeah.
on where people can learn more about you. But we have had some comments here. So first, I'll just thank you all for watching and supporting
Yeah.
us and getting to know. I guess you got to know us a little bit more, and definitely Dr. Michelle a little bit more during this show. But Ragu says, "Good afternoon."
Hey, Ragu.
What's up,
Hey.
Ragu? Kathy Facenda, exercise coach. Great place to go if you're looking to get healthy and
That's where your
fit.
event is coming up. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. She said everybody should meet Dr. Michelle.
Everybody should. Yes.
Yeah, she's with you. I would agree. I would agree with
Yes.
Kathy. She's good people.
Kathy's
Don Block says love that place. It just said what you guys were
Spring
just talking
Valley,
about with
yeah.
Spring Valley. Yeah, and I think Mary Lacardi as well says love that your journey has led you to be an inspirational source of encouragement to the world. Thank you.
Mary,
Yes.
she's so
It's
nice.
pretty beautiful.
I love
She is.
Mary.
What
Pretty
a
beautiful,
soul.
Mary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's super.
She teaches local yoga.
Does she?
Do you know that?
I did not know
I
that.
didn't know that about
Did
her.
not
That's
know
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I just saw her at a networking event with Wintrust yesterday. I see her often a lot, but I didn't know that she did yoga, so that's
Yeah.
awesome. So,
We thank you guys for your comments. Thank you for engaging.
yeah,
We
Yeah.
love to get that type of involvement in the podcast for
yeah.
sure.
And
Getting
the one which Matt Watts just came up.
Oh yeah.
He was like, Monica is a natural podcaster.
Oh,
So
God,
would you agree?
yeah,
Would you agree,
true.
Michelle?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Yes, I would
That's
agree
really
too.
sweet.
Adam,
Oh,
would
in
would
the
you
middle
agree?
so much.
Yeah, she definitely is.
Yeah,
She's.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
I still feel a little like throwing up on the side here, but it would be on
know,
camera, and I don't
doesn't
want to
look
do that
like
to you
it.
guys.
You know
so.
what? I almost cried in the beginning. You throw up at the end. I'm thinking ratings. All right, let's go. Dr.
Right.
Michelle.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure
Yes. Thanks for
chatting with you,
having me.
and just getting to know you more and talking about unity, community within our community. So thank you. Where can people learn more about you to stay connected?
Yeah. So I would say go to my website because it's got everything. So that's michellemorkett.com. And I have a newsletter that I send out on Sundays.
Yes.
I think you've both.
Yes.
I
Yes.
get
Yeah.
it. I like it.
So, and it's, it just has a lot of fun stories in it, I think,
Yes.
like global stuff, kind of more personal.
Relatable.
And practical strategies. So I really enjoy sending out. It's kind of like a gift. It's part of my practice. I just enjoy it so much, and I feel personally liberated when I do it. I love it. I love sharing that.
Fantastic.
So my newsletter's on there, and then you can sign up for a free call if you're interested in learning more about coaching. And for coaching, I think about it as my clients are exhausted because they're trailblazers and badasses and doing the thing. They're, kind of lonely sometimes because they're the first ones out there, and they're still kind of scared to do the really hard things. And so I partner with them.
Beautiful.
I'm their partner along
Yeah.
to their goals. So you can sign up there, and I've got a blog on there too if you want to check it out. But that's a place to find me.
And public speaking, you do that too.
Oh, thank you. How did I forget public speaking?
You do that too.
See, Monica, thank you. Yeah,
I'm a fan. I am
thank
a
you.
fan.
Yes, thank you. So I've got a couple talks listed on there that I can do, and I have an event coming up next week. I'm doing public speaking
For the
locally.
SBA, right?
It's the Schaumburg Women's Alliance group through the Schaumburg Business Association.
Awesome.
That's on Tuesday, and then next Saturday, I'm partnering with two local businesses, Kathy Facenda's exercise coach in Schaumburg, Kathy Facenda, and then Terry Calandra from Calandra Wellness, and she does acupuncture.
It's going to be the event
Awesome.
of the year. That's what I'm hearing. That's the event of
It's
the year.
gonna be,
And
then I'll be
exclusive,
there
too, because you only have so many spots.
Yeah,
right?
so there's 15 total, and we have 5 left.
Oh my God.
And it's free. We want to do it in honor of Women's History Month, and we know that you're always out there taking care of everybody else, and we want to help you advocate for yourself just like you do for everyone.
So if they're not signed up, they need to sign up like
On
ASAP.
Eventbrite, yeah. So you can find it on my LinkedIn, Kathy Facenda's LinkedIn, and Terry Calandra's LinkedIn if you're interested. It's going to be fun.
That is fantastic. And there's swag. You guys are giving away swag. We won't say what.
Yeah, I won't say more.
yeah.
It's just wonderful.
But
Still a
it's gonna
little tease
be
you throwing
some
that out there?
Wonderful.
hot
All
swag
community.
for a free event.
Community,
Community.
too.
Oh,
Talk
man.
about community. It's all
Yeah.
there. People supporting women. Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope if you haven't signed up for that last event, I hope you do. Take time out for yourself. When they told me about the event, I immediately thought of 2 women in my life that I'm like, man, they just do so much for all the people around them. They keep it together, but just take care of yourselves. Find time for peace and all of that. Not this is go for that event. Just in general, life is better when you have time for peace. Michelle, it's been an honor.
thank you.
You're awesome.
Yes.
I look forward to round 2 whenever we do this as we continue to grow. Monica, whew, first one in the books.
You
You're gonna
did
throw
it.
up.
So,
Do
You
we
did
have the
it.
bag
I'll
for
throw up
her to
after.
throw up in? Okay, cool. Adam is ready to go. I can't wait to dive
Still
deeper.
follow me with the camera.
Can't wait to dive deeper as we continue to go on the local Chicagoland
Back at you,
podcast journey. So let's do this. My friends, we love what we do. We love stories. We love community, and we believe that we're stronger together. But at the end of the day, we are a media company that help brands, small businesses to medium-sized business pop through content creation. There could be so many things through there, but we have your back when it comes to creating and getting your brand's message out there. So if we could help you on that, please let us know. In the meantime, we're going to continue loving on our community through the Chicagoland podcast and with the Brand Worthy podcast and helping other people bring on their shows. But my friends, I'm going to bust this out. It was at the end of every video that we did all through COVID. But it does feel right here.
Feels right.
Support local, love local, and we're stronger together. My friends, peace out. Thank you.
Have a great day.